Hey, what's up guys? This is Krishna here with a brand new tutorial on Houdini Redshift combination Pyro shader. Um, there are plenty of tutorials online, and I was just trying to look for Houdini Redshift Pyro shader. There are some, but when I tried, I wasn't happy with the result. So I created my own, and I figured that maybe it's time to share. Anyway, also one more thing. When I did the tutorial, I had not purchased Redshift, but now I have. However, the tutorial will have Redshift watermark on it because I didn't purchase at the time. Anyway, without further ado, let's move on and get this started. Okay, to start with, let me create a geometry. I already have my smoke simulation set up. Let me call this explosion. Um, you know what? Before this, let me save the file. Actually, I'm going to save as and just choose the path. I call this RS Pyro Toot dash 1.1, and I'm going to set up alias job so that it's easy to navigate to it later on. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to try and type in the job variable and locate that sim file. Actually, I don't know. I don't actually know the exact path, so I think I'm going to browse it through. Okay, there you go. I think we got it. I'm just going to delete this part here and call it $job because I know that's where that is. Okay, I believe we got the smoke. Yep, there it is. Let me zoom out a little bit. But before that, let me set up the end to 120 and zoom out. Let me set this camera up properly. Okay, I got the set up now. I'm gonna set up a sunlight so we can have some sun, but this time it is going to be Redshift sun. Okay, so if you control click RS light sun, you'll get it exactly in the view of your viewport. I'm also going to create another light just so that it's not as dark as it is right now. Just going to create another RS light. I'm going to reduce the intensity from 100 to 1 and maybe give it a slight blue color. Okay, go back to cam. Oh, I see a little clipping there. I don't like that. So I'm going to move the camera around a little more. I think that's okay. Right there's looks better. Well, at least it doesn't have the clipping. Okay, so I'm going to create Redshift by clicking on that icon there. And then going to IPR, let's uncheck override IPR camera. That's because it's already only 720p anyway, so it doesn't matter. Let me hit a render and see what we're getting right now. Okay, I already can tell that we got nothing. And it's rendering away, which means that the IPR progressive rendering is turned on. So let me go in and uncheck that. Now you'll see that its rendering is 100% complete. So let me close that, and the next stage is to add Redshift object properties to the explosion. So go and click on object parameters and go to volume, check the checkbox, volume enable, and change it to volume BDB Houdini primitive. And let's also create a shop network because it needs a material. Let's dive inside of it and create an RS volume material. Go back and assign that material to the explosion node. And let's try and hit render again. Okay, we got something. We got some dark smoke. All right, let me close this. Actually, you know what? Let me click on IPR again. Let me click. Let me keep the IPR window open and floating. Okay, let me go into shop network now, and let's set this shader up. You want to type in heat into emission channel. You don't want temperature because temperature doesn't really work well. So if you type in heat, and let's go into this is the first thing. You want to go and select both the lights and go to volume contribution scale and change it to 1. Without this being 1, it will not have an impact on the volume. So that's very important. Let's change the scatter coefficient to 2, make it a little bit thicker, and let's change the absorption it's the absorption coefficient to 4, which is twice the amount as scatter coefficient. So you can tell it's really thick. And let me add approximately 5 color points here. And you can choose the color as I selected. It's yellow first, then the next one would be the color to the left of it, which is the orange, and the next one is going to be red, and the one below that afterwards, and that one again, choose the same red color but darken it a little more, maybe bring it down, I don't know, 2. That's the initial setup. Should be okay. But pull the black a little bit inside and move the yellow towards the white. But you can tell it's not really doing anything, so we need to hit the IPR again. Okay, it hasn't really brought anything. Let me change the frame to 48. Let me just change it to 48 now. Let's hit another render. Okay, there you go. We got something now. Actually, let me choose, I don't know, 60. Let me hit another render. Okay, I think this will work. Right, so now you want to go and increase the emission scale to 2 to experiment it. Let's see what happens. Let's put it up to 4. Okay, it looks a little bit better. And let's pull all these things. Get some color. Depending on your explosion, you want to adjust this accordingly. If you want more yellow, yeah, you could obviously do that. And more white areas. But here's the important part. So go to Advanced tab and change the new max to, let's say, 4. And bam, you see a massive difference. Let me bring it down to 2. Yeah, it looks slightly okay. 3. Okay, 3 is fine. Let me change that to 2 to 1.2. That looks slightly better. And density remap range also, bring it down a little bit, because you'd see the densities has changed significantly, and increase the new max to 2. Yeah, it's to increase the density or reduce the density. It's obviously, this is a really important area you want to play with to get a better result. However, see this new minimum, you do not want to change that from 0 to anything. No matter what you change, it just does not seem to do anything but create some weird results. Any of the minimum, by the way. Maybe you know, negative values may work, I don't know. But let's just change this and set it up however you want. I'm going to change this new max of emission is to 2.8. I like that number. No, that's 2.4 is too much. So 1 is too low, 1.2, maybe 0.4 is too high, 1.2. I think 1.2 is great. Okay, so let me close it. Let me go to out and delete this. So let me render frame range, and let's see how it looks right now. Before that, let me set up the output to the correct spot. I don't like really hip names, so let me delete that. Hit render to disk. Okay, it's starting to render, so let me come back once it's done. Okay, it is done. It took about 2 minutes, maybe a little longer, but here's the result. It does not look bad. It does not look bad. Okay. It's a little slow because I'm screen recording also, so usually it's much faster. Okay, let me choose. Oh, okay. All right, cool. That's great. So we got the first part done here. I'll change it back to current frame and hit IPR again. So okay, so here's the frame we wanted. And before I forget, let me change it to 2 so that our next disk writes will be on in a different location. Right, the important thing here is go to Redshift, Global Illumination, and choose your primary engine to brute force, secondary to irradiance point cloud. Did you notice that difference? It's incredible. Now this is very, very important step. Without this, you will not get a good result. And you want to increase the brute force GI race based on your requirement. For me, yeah, 256 is fine. Actually, let me change this to, I don't know, some other engines, and I'll see what happens. I didn't really see much of a difference. Oh, okay. There's something going on, but that looks pretty much the same as before. Put it back to brute force now. So let me hit it, and let's see if we notice any change. Okay. Let's see if you got any difference between the two frames now. Nope. No, I don't see it. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to go back into ShopNet now, so you can see that the GI has significantly made it better. However, you do have some spots which you may want to correct and whatnot, you know. So let me go back into the shader itself, and let's see if we can tweak some of these values. .6. Maybe it's too much, I think. 2.8 is good. And let's see what happens with the density remap. Change it to 2. Nope. Back to 1. That one. No. That's also 0.4 is good. There. This one. No. That destroyed the integrity. Right. So I'm just going to try and increase this to 8 and see. You know, you got very thick smoke, but it looks kind of too dull now. Yeah, four's pretty good, I think. Let's adjust these colors now. Well, actually, let me decrease the scale, emission scale, because it's too bright. 3.2 looks good to me. Okay, I'm going to pull this to the right just to see if there's... You're going to have to adjust these colors based on your requirement, you know, and your feel and how you like it and, you know, whatnot. So I'm just going to play around with this and okay. I think it looks okay, and when I pulled the white, you would want the most brightest areas to be white just to give it that heat appearance. So that's why I pulled the white a little bit to the left. So that looks okay to me. Okay, I went ahead and rendered the sequence to the disk. I had to change the angle slightly because I didn't like how it looked. So I changed the camera angle. Well, in fact, you know what? I actually created a new camera, which is on Cam 2. I rendered about 102 frames, and it took, I think, 8 minutes. Ballpark, not sure. I don't remember anymore, but anyway. So I'm going to play it for you now. Yeah, there you go. So now it looks beautiful, but at the same time it looks a little hot at the very beginning. But remember, you've got to composite this. So you will bring down these values in your compositing software. Certainly you'll do that. I mean, I did that. If you watch the start of this tutorial, you'll see how the fire looks compared to this one. That's because I composited and I brought the highlights down a little bit, so it kind of meets the broadcasting standards and whatnot. And also nice to look for the eye. Anyway, so let me select. Let me just scroll this. Look how beautiful it looks. I mean, Pyro rendering using Mantra is really good. Of course, that's the best. However, it will take some time. With Redshift, we're looking at this kind of result within a few minutes, which is a significant improvement and really, you know, time save. It's a big time saver. I'm going to go through some important points here then. The summary you want to watch out for are the elements you want to watch out for are One is that the lights do have contribution scale of 1 to the volume, if not, it won't have an impact. And then your shader itself have this emission remap range of colors, and then your scatter coefficient, absorption coefficient, and the scale of the emission. And this tab in the advanced, and this is very important, this is where you can play around with a lot and get the shade you want. And go into the Redshift output and global illumination. It's imperative you have this, if not your explosion will just look not cool. So those are the 3 things you definitely want to have in place when you are rendering explosions using Redshift. Okay, so let me hit IPR again because I've forgotten to mention something. And let me see here now. See if you click this view bar. See those, that does not have any images, let's say mantra in mantra terms, and this is called AOV in Redshift. So you want to, if you want to activate that, go to output, go to AOV and add 3 items, and number 1 is volume fog emission, and number 2 is volume lighting, number 3 emission. I think only 2 are required, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try it with 3. And go to comment and make sure you check this box, render AOVs to M-play, if not it won't. So let's hit IPR again, and now in the drop down, yeah, you've got the options to choose. So you got your emission, you got your volume itself, and let's see what emission gives. Emission gives nothing, okay, as I expected. But fog emission itself, you can use glow effects to increase the glow on that one rather than the entirety of the volume. Let me just go back in and change this AOV type to, let's say, diffuse lighting, and see if that brings anything at all. You got the fog emission, fog volume, and diffuse. Okay, diffuse got nothing. The reason why I'm checking all 3 of them is sometimes when you add some AOVs, it seems to kill the other AOVs which were working before. So you be careful with that. So you want to definitely check every one of them every time to make sure it does come up. So I'm just trying to reduce the gamma, but it's not working on this. Anyway, doesn't matter. Also, one more thing is that when you add these AOVs, you may want to choose bits per channel to be 32 bits full float instead of half float, because 32 bits give you more control of the highlights and the shadows, and it's easy to pull them when it's 32-bit. I don't usually work with 16-bit. I mean, I have not. I shouldn't say I don't usually. I should say that lately I've been working only with 32 bits because it's so much better. I can pull the HDR. The HDR range is just so phenomenal. Anyway, so yeah, change them to 32 bits and take them to the compositing software, and you can bring the highlights down, increase the shadows and whatnot. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it was helpful to you. If you please, if you have any comments, let me know. And also, please like and subscribe to my channel. I will post more videos like this in the future. Thank you.